You know, I've spent a long time reflecting on the nature of struggle. Not the kind of struggle romanticized in cheap motivational videos. I'm talking about real struggle. When each breath requires effort, when your mind screams for surrender and your body refuses to obey. In such moments, many give up. And you know what? There's nothing surprising about that. Giving up is the easiest path, the most understandable, the most predictable. Society has even created an entire culture that justifies retreat. I did everything I could. Some things are out of our hands. Perhaps it wasn't meant to be. Convenient phrases we repeat to sleep better at night. But let's face the truth. Deep inside, we know these are lies. We don't do everything we can. We do everything that's convenient. We stop when it gets truly difficult, when discomfort turns into pain, when fatigue seeps into our bones, when self-esteem begins to crack. And here, right here, at the boundary of your capabilities, is where real transformation begins. Not before. Only when you've exhausted your comfortable reserve of strength, only when you've broken through false limits, only then do you begin to change. Only then do you grow. Our consciousness plays a cruel trick on us. It creates the illusion of barriers where none exist. Your mind shouts, "Enough, no further," long before you've actually reached your limit. It's a defense mechanism, a legacy from our ancestors who needed to conserve energy for survival. But we're no longer fighting for survival. We're fighting for a meaningful life. Look at the great people in any field: sports, business, science, art. What unites them? They've learned not to trust the first signal to surrender. They know that behind the first wall lies a second, behind the second, a third. And only by breaking through these false barriers do you discover your true strength. But there's another side to this. Many people don't give up, but they don't win either. They live in a closed circle of struggle without progress. Why? Because blind persistence without strategy is just another form of self-deception. If you're banging your head against a wall, it doesn't matter how hard you bang, the wall won't yield. You need to find the door or create one. Real struggle isn't just about willpower. It's about strategic thinking, about the ability to adapt, about the readiness to learn, about the determination to change. Sometimes struggle requires not increased pressure, but a change in approach, not raising the volume, but changing the frequency. And here's what I've realized after years of ups and downs. Struggle is not an event. It's a process. It's not a short sprint, but a marathon consisting of endless sprints. It's a daily choice in favor of discomfort for the sake of long-term growth. It's the readiness to face each morning with the awareness that today is another battle in the long war for a better version of yourself. When I say fight, it's worth it. I don't mean that at the end of the road some magical reward awaits that will compensate for all the suffering. Life doesn't work that way. The reward isn't waiting for you at the end, it's in the process of struggle itself. In who you become as you overcome obstacles, in the strength you gain, in the wisdom you accumulate, in the person you create from the chaos of trials. Do you know what happens when you give up? You don't just lose the opportunity to achieve your goal, you lose a part of yourself, a part of your potential, a part of your integrity. Each time you retreat in the face of difficulties, you teach yourself that you're not worthy of better. You program yourself for defeat. You create neural connections that reinforce your helplessness. And conversely, every victory over yourself, every overcome obstacle, every moment when you choose the difficult path instead of the easy one, that's a brick in the foundation of your inner strength. It's an investment in your future. It's a promise you make to yourself, and such promises shouldn't be broken. Listen, I won't tell you that struggle is always pleasant. That would be hypocrisy. Struggle is painful by definition. It requires sacrifice. It pulls you out of your comfort zone. It forces you to face your deepest fears, your weaknesses, your imperfections, and that's frightening. But you know what's even more frightening? Living to the final days of your life with the awareness of unrealized potential, with the understanding that you could have done more, become better, reached heights, but chose comfort over growth, chose safety over risk, chose stability over breakthrough. Many think that struggle is something extraordinary, something that happens only in moments of crisis, but true fighters know struggle is everyday life. It's getting up an hour earlier when your body begs for sleep. It's doing one more repetition when muscles burn with fatigue. It's continuing to work when everyone around is having fun. It's maintaining clarity of mind when emotions overwhelm. It's controlling impulses when temptation seems insurmountable. I've met people who said, "I would fight, but I don't have the resources." That's an illusion. The only resource you truly need for struggle is your inner core, your determination, your unwillingness to accept mediocrity. Everything else is secondary. History is full of examples of people who started from nothing and reached incredible heights, not because they were lucky, not because they had special talents, but because they refused to give up, because they were ready to fight longer, harder, and smarter than everyone else. They understood a simple truth. It doesn't matter how many times you fall. What matters is how many times you get back up. It's especially important to understand the value of struggle now, in the era of instant gratification. We live in a world that sells us the illusion of ease, a world that convinces us everything should happen quickly and effortlessly. But all real achievements, all profound changes require time, require effort, require consistency, require struggle. I'm not calling you to romanticize suffering. Struggle for struggle's sake is masochism. Struggle must be meaningful. It should lead you to a better version of yourself, to the realization of your potential, to the embodiment of your mission, to creating a legacy you can be proud of. When you're at rock bottom, when it seems there's no strength left, when the world around is crumbling, remember, this is not the end. It's just another moment that requires a choice from you. And this choice will determine your destiny much more than the circumstances in which you find yourself. Do you know what distinguishes winners from the defeated? Not talent, not luck, not connections, but the ability to withstand failures, the ability to extract lessons from defeats, the ability to use pain as fuel to move forward. Many people can barely endure even minor inconveniences. They flee from discomfort as if from plague. But the truth is that comfort is a trap. There's no growth in comfort. There's no evolution in comfort. There's no breakthrough in comfort. All significant changes happen at the boundary of your capabilities, where real struggle begins. I've known people who turned their lives into a search for comfort. They created a safe cocoon around themselves that they were afraid to leave. And you know what happened to them? They began to die from within, slowly, imperceptibly, but steadily. Their creativity, their passion, their life force, all this withered in the absence of challenges, in the absence of struggle. Now look at those who are not afraid of difficulties, at those who see an opportunity for growth in every obstacle, at those who use resistance as a trainer for strengthening the spirit. These people radiate energy. They attract opportunities. They inspire others. They create the future, not because they're luckier, but because they're ready to fight where others surrender. Struggle tempers character. It purifies motives. It sifts out the superficial and exposes what's essential. In moments of real trials, you learn who you truly are, not the image you create on social media, not the character you play in public, but your true essence, your core, your substance. And this knowledge is invaluable because only by knowing yourself can you realize your potential. Only by understanding your real strengths and weaknesses can you build a growth strategy. Only by being honest with yourself can you create a life that corresponds to your deep values. You know what I've noticed over the years? The more you run from struggle, the more often it finds you. The more you try to avoid difficulties, the stronger they pursue you. And conversely, the more you're ready to face challenges head on, the more prepared you become. The more tools you acquire, the more confident you feel in the face of the unknown. I'm not saying you should seek suffering. I'm talking about being ready for it, understanding that it's inevitable, that it's part of the journey, and that your reaction to these sufferings will determine who you become. Many people live in constant anticipation. They postpone life for later. They tell themselves, when everything settles, then I'll start. But the truth is that the perfect moment doesn't exist. Difficulties will always be there. Obstacles will always be there. Resistance will always be there. And the determination to act despite this, that's what separates those who make history from those who remain a footnote in it. Look at any area of human achievement, from art to science, from sports to business. Behind every significant breakthrough are years of struggle, years of doubt, years of failure, years of persistence against the obvious. And if these people had given up at the first difficulty, the world would be poorer by many discoveries, works, ideas, companies. Struggle is not just a means to an end. It's a tool for self-discovery. It's a way to establish a connection with your deep essence. It's a path to authenticity. When everything goes smoothly, it's easy to pretend, easy to wear masks, easy to meet expectations. But in the fire of trials, all false facades burn away and only the real remains. And this reality is the basis for any meaningful relationship, for any meaningful achievement, for any meaningful life. Because people sense authenticity, they respond to it, they are drawn to it, they are ready to follow it, and your ability to remain authentic in struggle is your most valuable asset. I won't promise you that struggle always ends in victory in the traditional understanding of that word. Sometimes you don't achieve your intended goal. Sometimes you suffer defeat. Sometimes you lose everything you fought for. But even in such cases, the very fact of the struggle matters because it transforms you, because it makes you stronger, because it prepares you for the next challenge. No one will escape difficulties. No one will escape pain. No one will escape loss. This is part of the human experience. This is the price we pay for the ability to feel, love, create, dream. And your choice is not whether you will face struggle, but how you will respond to it. Whether you will break or become stronger. Whether you will grieve over adversities or use them as material for growth. I've seen people who turned the greatest tragedies into a source of deepest wisdom. People who use their wounds as channels for compassion. People who transform their pain into fuel for serving others. And this isn't magic. It's not a miracle. It's a conscious choice. To see in struggle not a curse, but an opportunity. Not a punishment, but a gift. Not an end, but a beginning. Struggle is not only about individual achievements, it's about something bigger, about contributing to the collective evolution of humanity, about expanding the boundaries of the possible, about creating precedents that will inspire others. Your struggle can become a beacon for those who come after you. Your resilience can give hope to those who are now in despair. Your example can change the trajectory of someone's life. And in this, perhaps lies the deepest meaning of the phrase fight, it's worth it. Worth not only for you, worth for everyone whom your struggle will show that it's possible to overcome the impossible, that you can rise after the most crushing fall, that you can start again even when it seems that all is lost. I know that sometimes struggle seems endless, that sometimes there's no strength left, that sometimes you just want to lie down and not get up. And in such moments, it's important to remember rest is not capitulation. A break is not defeat. Sometimes the wisest step is to take a step back, regroup, recover, rethink your strategy. But the key word here is sometimes. Temporary retreat is acceptable. Permanent retreat is not. Because each time you give up, you strengthen the neural connection of capitulation. You train the muscle of retreat. You reinforce the habit of defeat. And conversely, each time you continue to fight despite everything, you strengthen the neural connection of resilience. You train the muscle of persistence. You reinforce the habit of victory, and over time, this becomes your second nature. You begin to automatically see opportunities in difficulties. You begin to instinctively look for solutions, not excuses. You begin to naturally move forward, even when everyone around is retreating. And this is not because you're special, but because you've chosen a special path, the path of struggle, the path of growth, the path of strength. And you know what's most interesting? Over time, you begin to find pleasure in the struggle, not masochistic pleasure from pain, but deep satisfaction from overcoming, from expanding boundaries, from conquering new heights, from the ability to tell yourself at the end of the day, I became better, I became stronger, I became wiser. Fight, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. Not because success is guaranteed, but because the alternative, slow extinction in comfort, is much scarier than any defeat. Fight not to prove something to others, but to prove to yourself what you're capable of. Fight not against someone, but for something, for your best version, for your mission, for your legacy. And remember, ultimately, what matters is not only victory, but how you fought. With what integrity, with what authenticity, with what respect for yourself and others. Because the way you conduct your struggle determines who you become in the process. And that perhaps is more important than any result. So yes, fight. It's worth it. Not because some external reward awaits you at the end of the road, but because the road itself is the reward, the road of transformation, the road of revelation, the road of becoming, the road to your true strength, which awaits you on the other side of comfort, on the other side of fear, on the other side of doubt. Fight, and you'll see what your